And Mayor,
Chair, yeah, I'm gonna be here.
Chair is
Yeah.
accused.
Yeah. I
Accusing
am.
herself from this.
I want to refuse, no. Well, with that, time is 4:30, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the special, Stanton City Council joint successor agency meeting of, March 4th. The time is 4:30. And with that, if, Carrie could call roll, please,
Mayor Carbone,
here, present.
Councilmember Adams,
Present.
Councilmember Diaz,
Here.
Councilmember Solfer,
Here.
Vice Mayor Blackwelder, recused.
And with that, I will move the communications at this time. Members of the public may address the city council on any matters not on today's agenda. So at this time, public comment. No. Anyone online, Debbie? Or they still can't be on there?
No public comment online.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment. We will go to item 3. This is closed session. I will open it up one more time for public comment. With the city council will be going into closed session regarding conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation with significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 D2. Number of cases are 3. And with that, public comment is open. No one online and no one in here. We'll be ready to close public comment. We will go ahead and close that door and
Put the sign out, and so.
Is there a sign?
And I will see you all next week.
all righty. Okay. We'll go ahead and adjourn into open session, and I'll direct, I can report out that no action was taken.
Yes.
Okay, all right. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. That's the, city council meeting of March 4th. And with that, Carrie, can you call roll, please?
Mayor Carbone,
Here.
Vice Mayor Blackwelder,
Here.
Councilmember Adams,
Present.
Councilmember Diaz,
Here.
Councilmember Solfer.
Here.
All present.
Okay. And with that, I would like to ask Mark if he would lead us in the pledge of allegiance. Yes, you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And with that, announcements from mayor, city attorney, and city manager. I have my report on the DS, and there's some extras over there on the table. If anyone would care for one, they're the reports of the meetings I attended for the month, pretty much the month of February. There are a few things I'll just pick out of the reports, and that's there were some possibilities for grant with MBARD and MBAG, and on the Monterey One Water Board, about 4 months ago, there was some talk about putting the bills on the, tax assessors on your property tax. And, that didn't go, 4 months ago, so they wanted to bring it back and, through discussion with the board, they thought that it would be too early, that the public got pretty confused over, thinking that that was gonna happen, and then it, got voted down, so, bills will remain the same in the mail. And with that, me and council member Adams attended a fire preparedness workshop conference in Monterey, and I had a little education, so I learned that our the city of Sand City, we have a fire zone here, number that, if you hear the number for your area, would be for our Sand City fire zone is SND/A016. And if you were to sign up to get an alert, they would, you would receive an alert. So I got a little bit of information. I wanted to get more for the city on, keeping your yards clear, and fire action plans. And then some for the Sand City barbecue coming up, some fire coloring books. And maybe some different things, MST books, some things that have to do with public service for the kids that's gonna be attending our May 17th barbecue in Sand City. Let me see if there was anything else. Just you'll see a little later, there's an item that's on consent, so a future item that will be in April, concert with one of our local, nonprofits that we are JPA with, so, with the schools in the city, so that'll be coming before you. And with that, that's it for me.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And just on the alert thing, that's wonderful. We're also working internally on an alert system that we just reach city residents and businesses, because sometimes it's not a county-wide alert. The recent flooding that happened would have been an example for that. Could have been quite useful if people had signed up. We're also in our newsletters so that you know, trying to reach out to residents and businesses to get an email list together. We don't have any other way of collecting everybody's email addresses, and it has to be a voluntary sort of offer. Because that's also very useful for the same reason. So a few other points. I have my city manager's report for February, which is up on the dais, and this copies here. Just wanted to tell you the red curb painting, the AB 413 painting did happen. Staff is looking at the length of the segments to make sure that they are correct, and we'll work with the contractor if they are not. So some of you might have noticed that it appears there's a little bit of a discrepancy there, so don't worry, we're on it. And there's a weird tinny sound I can hear. I think I can get this away from it. Is Adam online? No. Okay. Well, Jennifer, let me know if you can't hear us. Well, if you can't hear us, you can't hear me asking to let you know, but anyway. Then I just wanted to let everybody know March 29th at 6 p.m. the Monterey Chamber of Commerce has its awards dinner, and ours truly, the mayor, will be honored with the Ruth Freeland Public Official of the Year Award. So it's a big deal. I know that many people have signed up, so if you haven't, please do with the city clerk. Also reminding you of the council workshop next Tuesday, starting immediately after the Seaside Sanitation District meeting, approximately 10:30, and going on to about 3:30, probably just till 3. That does mean that the Public Works Public Safety Committee meeting that same day is cancelled. And then the mayor mentioned the city barbecue, May 17th, put it in your calendars. On some other items, I should probably do this first because it's a little sadder. But we are dealing, I know that we have all received emails, or many of us, emails and complaints about the encampments along the coastline. I certainly have received a few complaints about that, and photos from the mayor. And so I just thought I'd give a brief update that, some of those encampments are on private property, so the city's working with the owners of the private property to clean out trash, and the PD has been out there a lot. And some of these encampments are the result of closures in Salinas of encampments. So the police department is finding a lot of people have actually come out to the dunes from Salinas. And we did notify Caltrans and Tampsey in early December. They coordinated a cleanup, which has meant that many of those people have now moved into Seaside's jurisdiction and Tent City's jurisdiction. So it's a constant, until we, as a region, as a whole, figure out a solution to this issue, we are going to be experiencing an ongoing issue with an unhoused population that exists in the state, but we are doing our best to, and the PD does provide shelter information to the unhoused individuals. So, and then lastly, West End, because some of you have asked, Matthew Swinnerton has access to all the social media. That took a lot of finagling with our IT expert, Yvonne Attila and Shannon Norton. And I know Audrey helped too. Audrey helps with everything. And now he's full speed ahead. He has announced the headliners for Saturday and Sunday. Saturday it's a group called the Expendables, and Sunday it's James Durbin and the Lost Boys. Since I didn't know either of these bands, I'm a bit embarrassed, but he writes, Expendables are a very popular national touring band. Recently, they played at Red Rocks Amphitheater. They play rocks and reggae. The Lost Boys, led by James Durbin, and he was the finalist in American Idol. He plays 70s and 80s covers, super high energy. So that's what we know. And then they will be officially announcing all the bands, or many more of the bands next week. And they're also doing a people's choice for a new band on social media. So having people recommend a new band in order to get some exposure for perhaps an unknown band to open one day on the main stage. We will be calling a West End committee meeting now that he has access to everything. So we'll be reaching out to the mayor and Councilmember Sofer on the West End Committee. And that, I believe, also, I just wanted to alert you to the fact we have it on consent tonight, but the Community Human Services has approached the city to have an event in the Art Park. It's a fundraising event on July 12th. I believe. I'm sorry, April 12th. July is the last one I wanted to mention, which it's not on my thing, but in July, there will also be a bicycle criterion special events permit that'll head your way. It's in my report. I think. Let me just double check that date. Maybe I didn't put it in. I put it in. Anyway, if you want that, reach out to me, but they're having it later this year in the summer, and that will come to council as all special events permits.
And they're still doing the 1 day, right?
The 1 day. So, but I just wanted to alert you to the fact it's on consent. If you want more information about that, you can certainly pull it off consent, like you can always do with any item on consent. But we stuck it on there because as we get more and more of these sort of special events permits, it seems like an easy way to deal with it unless there are concerns. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, very good. Is Adam back? Yeah. Okay. We'll go ahead and move along. And, we will move to communications, and at this time, members of the public may address the city council on any item not on tonight's agenda. Items on today's agenda will open that up to public comment when we get to those items. And if anyone has comments, have a 3-minute limit to comment, so I'll go ahead and open up public. Comment is open.
We have one hand raised online.
Okay. And, if, the caller could, unmute himself and, give their name and comment.
I'm sorry, it was just the city attorney logging in from another device that would work.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And public comment is still open.
No other hands raised.
Okay. We'll go ahead and close public comment and, move on to the consent calendar. The consent calendar consists of routine items which the city council may approve with a single motion. The council member may request an item be placed on the regular agenda for separate consideration. At this time, does any council member want to pull that item? And has, council, you've probably seen everything in there, no corrections or any changes, anything that looks out of the ordinary?
Why do you think there might be something?
No, I'm asking.
Oh.
You guys may, you
Look
guys
like
may
you're
be read better than
There's
me.
something about it, yeah.
Okay. With that, I'll open it up for public comment. Public comment is open. Not hearing anyone. We'll close public comment.
Oh, we do have someone.
Oh, we
online.
do. Okay. Public comment is still open.
Gabby James.
Okay. Welcome, Gabby.
Hey, everybody, how you doing?
Good.
Good, good, glad to see you. I'm just representing Community Human Services today, and just wanted to say that we're really excited to be able to have the opportunity to host a fundraiser in the Art Park. We think it's going to be really fun, a really family-oriented affair. And so, yeah, thank you again, and if you have any questions, please feel free to email me.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Public comment is still open. I'm not seeing,
No other hands raised.
anyone. Will go ahead and close public comment at this time. I'll bring it back to the council for,
Move
further
to approve
discussion or,
5A, B,
action.
C, and D.
We have the approval, Councilmember Blackwelder. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Councilmember Sofer. Carrie, well, we're all here. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstentions? Motion carries. With that, we'll move on to item 6. There were no items pulled from consent. Item 7 is for presentation. We have none. So let's move on to item 8, and that is a public hearing item, which is the first reading of the ordinance approving the second amendment to the development agreement by and between the city of Sam City and PBO Development relating to development commonly known as the South of Tioga Project. And with that, Vivian.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So you all are now familiar with the South of Tioga project, and the newest council member may be a little less familiar with the history of the land use entitlements regarding that project. But in 2020, in October 2020, the city entered into what's called a development agreement with the developer of that project area. Development agreement is sort of the envelope, the outside barrier, allowing the developer to know what he or she may build within that parcel. So the development agreement, so it encompasses the hotel and 2 other residential parcels, which are not yet being built, but will be. in the near future, working on that. And you've seen the hotel go up, of course. The term of that development agreement was initially for 5 years, so it expires in October 2025. The development agreement was amended once, and this is the second amendment, passed as an ordinance. It has to be under development agreement law, but Adam can fill you in more on. But this is a very simple amendment to extend the term of the development agreement so that the developer can still construct the residential sections of the project. And it's extending the term to 2029. It's extending it 300 days initially to August 16th, 2026. And this is a result of COVID-19 and the force majeure provisions, which allow them to extend 300 days, and then on top of that, amending it an additional 3 years to August 2029. So I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Adam?
No, I do not. I would just say that the two provisions by which it's being extended are very standard. Various agreements around the state, including development agreements and agreements of that type, were extended as a result of the force majeure provisions in them because of the COVID. We did double check the calculations regarding that, and obviously the development itself is proceeding with consistent with the expectations in the development agreement. And so we would recommend approval. This is a very normal thing to happen in a development agreement, particularly one that was as short as the one that the city entered into with the original developer.
Thank you, Adam. Does that conclude your report?
It does.
Okay. Council, do you have any questions to staff at this time? No. Okay. Let's go ahead and open this up to the public and see, what the public has, if they'd like to comment on this item. You have, 3 minutes for comments.
No,
I'm not seeing anyone. We will go ahead and close public comment, and I'll bring it back to the council for discussion and direction. There is a staff recommendation on page 61 to introduce and waive the first reading of the ordinance. So, number one, would be to waive the reading in full and approve the first reading by title of the ordinance. And with that, do I have a motion?
I move that we read the title only.
Okay, I'm looking for a second. Okay. And with that, Carrie, can I have a roll call vote on this? It's an ordinance, please.
Councilmember Sofer,
Yes.
Councilmember Diaz,
Yes.
Councilmember Adams,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blackwelder,
Yes.
Mayor Carbone.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. And did we need to have the ordinance read by title? Still, are we done? We do. So the ordinance can be found on page 62. In your packet. If someone will read that.
I'm happy to read it.
Thank you.
It is on page 65, second amendment to development agreement by and between Sand City, California and DBO Development number 30 LLC relating to the development commonly known as South of Tioga project. Actually, you're right, the ordinance. See, I should listen to you, 62. That was the agreement. I will read
that.
You were correct and I was wrong, Madam Mayor. On page 62, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sand City approving the second amendment to the development agreement by and between the City of Sand City and DBO Development number 30 LLC relating to the development commonly known as the South of Tioga project.
Okay, thank you. So is there a councilman member who would like to move the adoption of the first reading as introduced?
I'll move that we adopt this.
Okay, Councilwoman Sofer, and do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Councilmember Yes. And, roll call vote again, please.
Councilmember Sofer,
Yes.
Councilmember Diaz,
Yes.
Councilmember Adams,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blackwelder,
Yes.
Mayor Carbone.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
And we'll be back for adoption of the ordinance at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, with that, we'll move on to item 9A, another new business item, and this is consideration of the city of Seaside's request to the Seaside County Sanitation District to change the voting structure from an equal share per member of the JPA to a weighted voting system. And with that, I don't know if there was a handout on this or just
There's not a
discussion.
handout, but there's just a PowerPoint that the city clerk will bring up
Okay.
right now. And it's, so this is, regarding Seaside County Sanitation District, which, Councilmember Blackwelder is your appointee on that board. And if you'll go to the next slide, please. And Adam and we haven't really talked about exactly how we present this, but we sort of put this together, both of us, but we're basically coming to you to seek council direction to Jerry Blackwelder on an item that, Seaside raised at the Seaside County Sanitation District, which is regarding member voting. And this is just an overview of what we're going to say, then we'll say it. This is basically, they have a proposal, we'll walk you through that, the background regarding the district, its purpose, what it does, and some of the funding of it, and then an analysis and then seeking direction. So this, if you go to the next slide. This is just a map of the Seaside County Sanitation District area. And you can sort of see where all the pipes are. I know that, Jerry, you probably look at this a lot on the board. But Seaside County Sanitation District is, maintains and operates the actual, sewer collection system. Then, once all the sewage is collected in the system, the pipes are under Sand City, you can see, so the member agencies are Delray Oaks, Seaside, and Sand City. This is the collection system. It all kind of flows downhill. Goes to the Seaside Pump Station, which is operated by Monterey One Water. And then Monterey One Water is the other agency that takes the sewage and processes it, for lack of a better term. So it serves an area of approximately 2,400 acres with a population of about 30,000 people. And again, it serves 3 cities, Delray Oaks, Sand City, and Seaside. Adam, do you want to jump in at all? Just please do, but otherwise I'll just keep going here.
Thank you. I will.
Okay, so that's just another image showing the boundaries. You can see Delray Oaks, Sand City, Seaside, and then the regions E and F are actually served by Marina Coast Water, so their sewage is a different system. That's also part of Seaside. Next slide, please. So the Seaside Sanitation District is it's a JPA, so it's a separate legal body. It is staffed entirely almost by City of Seaside staff. So they provide everything, administrative services, accounting, IT, maintenance, engineering, purchasing, contract management. They also staff the district. So the equivalent of a city manager in that district is the district manager. The district manager of Seaside Sanitation District is the city manager of Seaside. The city engineer is the city engineer of Seaside, and so on. Seaside Sanitation pays approximately $1.7 million to the city of Seaside for those services. That's according to fiscal year 23-24 budget. And here's just a breakdown of some of the things they pay. They pay $500,000 for personnel costs, for internal service charges. We're still trying to figure out what that means. services and supplies probably out to outside vendors, and capital outlay and debt to outside vendors. And then next slide. The funding sources for the district are from user fees, people who are connected to the sewage, property tax share, interest income. They have quite a trust build up, but I think it's about $12 million. Yeah. And hey, Leon. And that was Leon's images, by the way, the two that I just showed. I should give him credit for that. And then connection fees. And the connection fees are quite high. So for example, when our Marriott Hotel had to connect to Seaside Sanitation District, they paid $775,972 just to this district, Seaside Sanitation District, for connection fees. Then they paid also a large amount to Monterey One Water to process the sewage. So the overall point here is the district gets a lot of money, and they transfer a lot of that to Seaside to pay for the services that Seaside provides. So, I mean, it works, you know, in that regard. Next slide, please. So now we get to the meat of the matter. That was just, I just thought maybe you all wanted a little bit of background to understand Seaside Sanitation District. Yes, Mayor.
Could you just explain to the council members what a JPA is for all the council members?
It's a joint powers association, and it's an entity that's entered into by, you know, I suppose 2 or more other public entities. So in this case, the 3 cities joined together, I think back in the 60s, and decided to work together to deal with the sewage.
And just the 3 cities of Del Rio, Seaside, and Sand City. And they created a JPA back then and with equal shares for.
We're gonna get to this.
Yeah, okay.
So at the November district board meeting, the city of Seaside sent a letter requesting that the district amend its ordinance to allow for what's called weighted voting. And they didn't decide on the board, decided to continue that item to go to their individual councils and talk to them about what the councils wanted, because a change in voting is really a major shift for JPA. If you go to the next slide.
And I would just pause there briefly, just to add a little commentary on the last slide, if you'd like, Vibeke.
Sure, if you want to go back. Yeah.
Sure. So at that meeting, Mr. Blackwelder and I were in attendance, and the discussion was about on one hand, the larger population that Seaside has, and the larger number of folks that were served there. And it was felt that overall, both your representative, Mr. Blackwelder, and the Delray Oaks representative spoke about the importance of this issue to the overall council, to the overall community, and felt that it was one on which they were not, they should communicate with you before and seek direction from you, given the importance to the overall community about this issue, and seek your direction and give the community the opportunity to speak on the issue. And I don't know, perhaps Jerry will have comments on what he heard at the meeting as well there.
So if we go to the next slide. So the current district code has equal voting. Each city has 1 vote. Each member is entitled to 1 vote. Majority vote takes action, so 2 out of the 3, assuming the 3 are present. And this is 33.3% approximately vote for each member city. What Seaside wants is a weighted voting structure in favor of Seaside, in the sense that Sand City would have 25% of the vote, Delray Oaks would have 25% of the vote, and Seaside would have 50% of the vote. And weighted voting would occur whenever a member calls for a weighted vote. if you go to the next slide, I would like to go through the reasons to keep this current equal voting for all members. For one, when you have 3 equal votes, like the current arrangement is, you don't have a possibility of a tie vote like you would, so you wouldn't have things tied up. We did have an experience previously with our hotel where the construction crew was ready to go, and there was still a dispute as to exactly what the fees should be. The Seaside Sanitation District staff had a very high number because they were considering that extended stay rooms should be analyzed like residences that are expensive. The hotel developer disagreed. It was on appeal in front of the board, and Seaside Sanitation District issued a letter to the city saying that we were not allowed to issue a building permit on our hotel, even though the construction crew was ready to go, until this was resolved. And so in a situation where you had this kind of weighted voting setup, something like that could be locked up for quite some time. So another reason, equal voting gives equal representation to each member agency. What I just pointed out was Seaside would have essentially a veto if you made this change, because they could block movement or actual action on the board side. And then Seaside already has somewhat disproportionate control over the district, in that its city manager is a district manager, its staff also is the district staff. So each staff recommendation that comes to the board is framed by Seaside staff. And one of the issues that we had during our hotel experience, the board actually directed the district manager to do something, to enter into an escrow agreement whereby the hotel developer paid the full disputed amount. It was held in escrow, and the amount they all agreed on would go to Seaside Sanitation District so the building could commence. But and so the board directed the district manager to do that, and he refused to do it. So this is just how the staff is already somewhat weighted in favor of the city of Seaside. Other than that, disagreements between the member agencies have been infrequent. It works pretty well as a district. I think Councilmember Blackwelder would have more opinions on that, and more
We've had no
experience.
disputes whatsoever. I've been on for over 5
Yeah.
years, and the meetings last 10 to 15
Right.
minutes.
So it's worked well in the past, as it is. And then next slide. So this is the reason to support a change, and this is Seaside's argument is, Seaside argues that it has a higher population that's served by the district than Bellary Oaks and Sansing, and therefore it should have a larger vote. And then I think next slide. So recommend direction, we recommend, staff recommends to direct the appointed representative to oppose a change to the current equal voting of member agencies, and authorize the city manager and city attorney to provide assistance necessary to implement this direction. So, and sorry, Adam, I just monologued it, but did you want to add anything more?
And no, I'm happy to help respond to any comments or additions from Jerry.
Okay, and so that, I think, concludes the report. Yeah, last slide.
Bottom line is, it doesn't benefit us at all. So it's for our best interest, because that's what our interest is our interest. We are gonna oppose it. As simple as that. It's not complicated.
So we go from a 33% voting to a 25%, is that basically?
No, we're in, where we are right now,
Right now at 33,
whatever it is. We all have
It's
equal votes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's basically gonna be 2 against 1 against 1.
Well, only if you were to
If-
decide to go that way, but it's up
Right,
to the board.
that's what I'm saying.
So we're just, because it's voting, because it's an important aspect, because the board decided to go
Right,
back
right.
out to their jurisdictions, we're bringing it to you, but we don't recommend
Right.
changing the voting
I
structure.
agree, okay.
Council, any questions? Good. No questions? Okay, so no questions. Let me go ahead and open it up to public comment. The public comment is open. No,
No hands raised.
not seeing any. We'll go ahead and close public comment. Council, the staff has, given their response to us and, so, council, discussion and direction is to follow city staff. Is that what I'm hearing? Yes?
Well, that's what I'm waiting for, so that's what I think everybody's saying.
Okay.
Okay.
We need to be clear.
Let it be written.
So it looks like it is 100%. So, we'll,
Do we need a
do
motion?
we need, let's have a motion on that. So looking for a motion,
Motion to approve.
staff
Well, I think it's
direction
approving. Is it?
You mean
to direct
a
staff.
motion to follow staff's recommendation, is that?
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Michelle. Okay, all those in favor, just signify by
Aye.
saying aye. Any noes? Motion carries. With
Thank
that,
you.
you're welcome. With that, we'll go ahead and move on to the next item, 9B, page 72, and this is a reconsideration of public art and site selection.
Yes, Mayor, I would run through this rather quickly because we already went through it at the last meeting, but this was the sculpture that was donated. Arts Committee recommends acceptance of the donated item that is, there's an image of it on page 78 of your packet. We have a little added thing in the staff report. I did get an email from Julia Wang, who is the daughter of the artist, and she wrote that she'd like to encourage Sand City to refer to this blue sculpture as Sand City Seat rather than the blue chair, because our father would want something with a bit more flourish, and he loved capitalized Sand City. In fact, his very last outing happened to be at Costco in Sand City, so that's a nice, I thought, personal touch. At the last meeting, council expressed a desire to go visit the blue chair. I emailed you how to do that, and I don't know if anybody did, but that was your opportunity too. You did, and again, the fiscal impact would be approximately $3,000 to fix the item before it would be installed, and the site that is being proposed is along the bike trail, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions on this item? If it's staff, and if not, let's open it up to public comment. Public comment is open. And not seeing any, we will close public comment. The discussion is, after reviewing this item, there's a recommendation on page 74 looking for approval and acceptance through the recommendation of the Sand City seat. Do I have a motion for approval?
A motion.
Councilman Adams. And do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Councilmember Diaz. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Motion carries. We will move on to the next item, 9C, and this is page 81 in your agenda, and this is regarding the monument sign south of Tioga. Staff report, please, Brian.
Hello,
Welcome.
good evening, Mayor, members of the council. So good, okay, we have a PowerPoint presentation and a staff report with the same diagrams that you're going to see.
And I just want to correct this because it's actually Brian about to prepare it for the staff report, so it should say city manager and Brian.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right. With assistance from Anna, who is couldn't be here this evening. So this is the Sand City Monument sign. The Development Review Committee has seen the design, and has approved the design, that's depicted in your packet. The sign will be located, we can go to the next slide. Actually, there are a number of signs that are similar in the city with this same wave concept with the design for the monument. And the installation of the city's logo as a medallion within that monument. So there are a number of places where that's already occurred, and this is a similar sign to what's already been established. And the location with respect to the sign is at California and Tioga. And it's within that triangular area that's part of the private property of the hotel, but within a public easement that's been established for this purpose. And the sign will be oriented to the corner rather than either California or Tioga. So it will be placed at an angle facing oncoming traffic that way. We can go to the next slide. You can see generally where this sign will be located on the overhead. I'll go over here. It's in this location here, California and Tioga, and will be oriented in that spot. The hotel will extend electrical conduit to the location. And the city's cost will involve constructing the monument itself and connecting that conduit and installing the lighting for it. And the city will obtain the building permit for that installation. In the staff report, covers the colors and materials, which are very similar to what's already been established here in the city and other locations. CEQA status here is exempt. It's a small structure, not going to cause any environmental impact. And the cost associated with the installation, also in the staff report, 29,000, a little over 29,000, covering the cost with a 6% contingency, or roughly a 6% contingency. No, I'm sorry. It's a $6,000 contingency. So we can go to the next slide. Just some considerations that the Development Review Committee looked at when they were approving this design. Go to the next one. And you can see how it could be integrated with the hotel signage in that particular location. So that's the staff report. In the last slide, you can see a proposed signage design that will be at that spot. And that's the staff report.
Council, questions or comments here?
Yeah, so the size of the sign is in relationship to a small boy, is that what I'm to understand?
I think that's a regular sized person.
Okay, regular
Yeah.
size,
Mhm, right.
like my size, about 6'5" or so.
You just kind of look,
I do want to just
No.
add the reason we're bringing this now is the CSI, the contractor who's doing all the concrete work in that area is who is out there already. So this is actually a good way to get this sign built pretty inexpensively. It's a sign, to put this sign in this spot was something that was envisioned long before I became city manager, actually, which is why we obtained a sign easement on that corner. And so it's one of those sort of, in my book, a checklist item that needs to get done. But it is a unique opportunity that CSI will be out there this spring. And
right.
And like Brian said, the hotel is offering to actually give us the electricity for the
Yeah.
lighting once it's installed. So they'll pay to light it up.
Yeah, the city will connect everything and install the lighting and be responsible for the costs. This is a a collaborative exercise between the
Just wanna make
hotel
sure it's big
developer and the
enough.
city.
You know?
I'd like to comment, first comment is that emblem, I don't know if you know it, but that emblem was, made by our, past, council member who recently died, Craig Hubler. So I don't, for anyone who didn't know, so, well, I mean, I love the emblem, but that was, something Craig envisioned. I had a comment, so they're going to, yeah, are we looking at two Monterey signs as a different cost, from CSI? I know that they're gonna be doing CSI, that they're doing the concrete and electrical, and the lighting is tied in also. I did want to comment on that lighting, the bar. I think that will illuminate that sign wonderfully. Looking at the signs that we have here in the city, it's kind of a light, and I don't feel like it does the sign justice, so, that, just the lighting, the lamp that they selected looks great, like it's gonna be, really illuminate that their, sign. So sorry, I got that out of me, so any comments, anyone else? And Jared?
The other thing is when the contractor poured that sign out there, they didn't have any release element on the corrugated form. And so when they took it apart, the concrete came apart too. So we had to come back and sack and patch the whole wall. So just make sure that it's got a release on it.
Yeah, warm release.
I see, okay.
Now, would that include, making sure that if it did have any rock pockets or, that the aesthetics on that sign, that they would the patching be included? If there were any, when they pour that concrete in that, I don't know if it's 8 inches or whatever the form is, just so that it, doesn't leave divots, I guess would be the.
Well, it should match what we already have.
Mhm.
Okay.
If it looks like our other signs and,
Well, they did patch that.
no, I
Okay,
understand. It
yeah.
has to look like the finished product out there.
All right.
The dimensions are on page 99 of the packet, I believe. Oh, that's the dimensions of this, itself. You want to look on Brian, on page 99.
Never looked at it. What was that?
And then the staff recommendation is to, city council authorize the city manager to spend the funds to cover the full cost of installation and the contingency for any unanticipated costs.
Thank you. Comments?
I have several questions. Are the colors the exact same as presented here on the screen? Yeah.
Yeah, those are
Does the
the,
one outside look like this? 'Cause this is blue and white, and that one's blue and gold.
That's brass or bronze for the weather.
Just wondering. That is hard to color. I like it. I'm learning like metallic markers next time. Okay.
Yeah, it's metal. That is metal. There's one right out front too that you could take a look at. But yeah. Okay, well, no, I'm not gonna go into maintenance of it, so, well, I won't go that far, sorry. Let's open it up to public comment. Public comment was open. Although I probably should have. No comments, okay, we'll close public comment and we'll bring it back before the council. So there's a recommendation on 82. And that is, there is a proposal from CSI Construction on page 98 in the amount of $18,450.36 to construct the monument sign. And they quote the Monterey signs for the city emblem logo in the amount of $5,842.35. That does include, the electrical. And it did talk about a bike path. I won't go there, but I think that's just a flat spot in front of the sign. Is that, did you read it there?
Oh, did you say a bike?
A bike pad. So is that the bottom of the concrete? I won't find it in the agenda.
Pad is, no.
I don't know what bike pad is.
I don't, I should ask that under comments, but we're past that, so, with that, there is an agreement,
You
do you wanna? I don't think it's a bike rack, I think they called it a bike pad, and there, I just was wondering, but, I'll look for it. So, do we need to read anything, or do we need to just, is there an agreement?
Yeah, I think this is just set up as a, I don't think we have a resolution on this one.
No, it's a
No, there's not, there's just a staff
Yeah,
recommendation.
so it's just a motion to, go along with the staff recommendation, basically, which is on page
82.
82. So basically, the recommendation is that city council direct the city manager to enter into the contracts, construction of the base of the sign and installation of the city's logo in accordance with the plans. And as approved by the, it should say design review committee, not development review committee. And staff recommends that you authorize the city manager to expend general fund revenues in the amount of $24,292.71 with a $6,000 contingency for unanticipated costs of installation, landscaping, etc. And this amount would then be added into the budget amendment that we will bring back to you.
Okay, looking for a motion
So
for
moved.
approval in a second.
Second.
Okay, Carrie, do you have the first and the second?
I do.
Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any noes? Motion carries. With that, we'll move on to the next item, 9D, and this is consideration of cancellation of the March 18th, city council meeting. So, I don't think we need much discussion. We're having two meetings, already. And they're, unless something came in drastically that we needed to pull a council meeting together, which I don't
We
think.
don't have any items
Okay,
currently,
so-
and we we have a meeting on the 11th.
The 11th. Okay, any discussion on this? And I will open it to the public comment. No? Okay, we'll close public comment and bring it back to the council. Do I hear, a motion?
I'll
And a
move
second.
that we cancel the 18th of March.
Okay, Libby? And looking for a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Ms. Slade.
I second that.
And all those in favor, please say aye. Noes, motion carries. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Jerry, you may think all you want.
Bye, Adam.